The Handmaid's Tale is an American dystopian television series created by Bruce Miller, based on the 1985 novel of the same name by Canadian author Margaret Atwood. The series was ordered by the streaming service Hulu as a straight-to-series order of 10 episodes, for which production began in late 2016. The plot features a dystopia following a Second American Civil War wherein a theonomic, totalitarian society subjects fertile women, called handmaids, to childbearing slavery. The first 3 episodes of the series premiered on April 26, 2017, the subsequent 7 episodes were released every Wednesday. In July 2019, the series was renewed for a 4th season, which premiered on April 27, 2021. In September 2019, it was announced that Hulu and MGM were developing a sequel series, to be based on Atwood's 2019 novel The Testaments. In December 2020, ahead of the 4th season premiere, the series was renewed for a 5th season, which premiered on September 14, 2022. In September 2022, ahead of the 5th season premiere, the series was renewed for a 6th and final season. The Handmaid's Tale's first season won 8 Primetime Emmy Awards from 13 nominations, including Outstanding Drama Series. It is the first show produced by Hulu to win a major award as well as the first series on a streaming service to win an Emmy for Outstanding Series. It also won the Golden Globe Award for Best Television Series Drama. Elizabeth Moss was also awarded the Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Drama Series and the Golden Globe for Best Actress in a Television Drama Series. Plot: in a world where fertility rates have collapsed as a result of sexually transmitted diseases and environmental pollution, the totalitarian, theonomic government of Gilead establishes rule in the former United States in the aftermath of a civil war. Society is organized by power-hungry leaders along with a new, militarized, hierarchical regime of religious fanaticism and newly created social classes, in which women are brutally subjugated. By law, women in Gilead are forced to work in very limited roles, including some as natal slaves, and they are not allowed to own property, have careers, handle money, or read. Worldwide infertility has led to the enslavement of fertile women in Gilead, determined by the new regime to be fallen women, citing an extremist interpretation of the biblical account of Bilhah. These women often include those who have entered marriages following divorce, single or unmarried mothers, lesbians, non-Christians, adherents of Christian denominations other than the Sons of Jacob, political dissidents, and academics. These women, called handmaids, are assigned to the homes of the ruling elite, where they must submit to ritualized rape by their male masters in the presence of their wives, to be impregnated and bear children for them. Handmaids are given names created by the addition of the prefix of to the first name of the man who has them. When they are transferred, their names are changed. Along with the handmaids, much of society is now grouped into classes that dictate their freedoms and duties. Women are divided into a small range of social categories, each one signified by a plain dress in a specific color. Handmaids wear long red dresses, heavy brown boots and white coifs, with the head covering surrounded by a larger white coif to be worn outside, concealing them from public view and restricting their vision. June Osborne, renamed Offered, is the handmaid assigned to the home of the Gyle Adon commander Fred Waterford and his wife Serena Joy. The Waterfords, key players in the formation and rise of Gilead, struggle with the realities of the society they helped create. During the time before, June was married to Luke and had a daughter, Hannah. At the beginning of the story, while attempting to flee Gilead with her husband and daughter, June was captured and forced to become a handmaid because of the adultery she and her husband committed. June's daughter was taken and given to an upper-class family to raise, and her husband escaped into Canada. Much of the plot revolves around June's desire to be reunited with her husband and daughter and the internal evolution of her strength to its somewhat darker version. Cast and characters. Main. Elizabeth Moss as June Osborne/Offered/Off Yosef, a woman who was captured while attempting to escape to Canada with her husband, Luke, and daughter, Hannah. Because Luke is divorced, their union is considered adulterous in this new society. June is considered an adulteress and their daughter, Hannah, is deemed illegitimate. Due to June's fertility, she is made a handmaid to Commander Fred Waterford and his wife Serena Joy, and is called Offered. Later she becomes handmaid to Commander Joseph Lawrence and is called Off Yosef. Joseph finds as Commander Fred Waterford, a high-ranking government official, and June's first master. Both he and his wife were instrumental in Gilead's founding. Yvonne Strahovski as Serena Joy Waterford, Fred's wife, and a former conservative cultural activist. She appears to have accepted her new role in a society that she helped create. She is poised and deeply religious, but capable of great cruelty and is often callous to June. She is desperate to become a mother. Alexis Bledel as Dr. Emily Malek/Off Glenn No. 1/Off Stephen/Off Roy/Off Yosef No. 1, a former university professor in cellular biology and initially June's shopping partner. Although June is initially wary of her, it is revealed she is not as pious as she seems, and the two become friends. Emily is involved with and first informs June of Mayday, an underground resistance movement. She has a wife and son living in Canada. Madeline Brewer as Janine Lindo/F Warren/F Daniel/Off Howard, a handmaid who entered the Red Center for training at the same time as June, and considers June a friend due to her kind treatment. Initially non-compliant, Janine has her right eye removed as a punishment. She becomes mentally unstable due to her treatment and often behaves in temperamental or childlike ways. Before Gilead, Janine was a waitress and had a son, Caleb, who unbeknownst to her was killed after the takeover. Anne Dowd as Aunt Lydia Clements, a woman in charge of overseeing the handmaids in their sexual re-education and duties. She is brutal and subjects insubordinate handmaids to harsh physical punishment, but she also cares for her charges and believes deeply in the Gileadine mission and doctrine. She appears to have a soft spot for Janine and even goes so far as to address her by her given name on occasion. Before Gilead, she was a family court judge, and afterwards, an elementary school teacher. O.T. Fagbinal as Luke Bankley, June's husband from before Gilead. Initially, June believes he was killed, but it is later revealed that Luke managed to escape to Canada. Max Minghella as Commander Nick Blaine, Commander Waterford's driver and a former drifter from Michigan who has feelings for June. June and Nick develop an intimate relationship and she eventually discovers that he is a spy for Gilead and that he played a huge role in the Gileadine takeover. In Season 3, he is promoted to commander. Samira Wiley as Moira Strand, June's best friend since college. She is already at the Red Center when June enters handmaid training but escapes before being assigned to a home. She is recaptured and becomes Ruby, a Jezebel. She seems to have given up hope of ever being free, but on meeting June again regains the conviction to escape to Canada. Amanda Brugel as Rita Blue, a housekeeper at the Waterford house, who becomes one of June's closest allies. She had a son named Matthew, who died fighting in the Civil War when he was 19 years old. Bradley Whitford as Commander Joseph Lawrence, the founder of the colonies and architect of Gilead's economy. He is on and off with Mayday. Sam Yeager as Mark Tuello, an operative of the U.S. government whom Serena encounters in Canada. Recurring. Stephen Kunkin as Commander Warren Putnam, a high-ranking official and the first known commander of Janine. Ever Carradine as Naomi Putnam, Commander Putnam's wife. She has no sympathy for handmaids and only sees her baby as a status symbol. Jordana Blake as Hannah Bankley, June and Luke's daughter. After being taken, She is given a new family and renamed Agnes Mackenzie. Tatiana Jones as Lily Fuller/off Glen No. 2, who replaces Emily in the position after Emily is captured by the Eyes. She warns June away from breaking the rules and does not wish to upset the status quo, but this is because she believes her life as a handmaid is better than the difficult, impoverished life she led prior to Gilead, rather than out of religious piety. Nina Kiri as Alma/off Robert, another handmaid who trained at the Red Center with June, Moira, and Janine. She is frank and chatty and often trades gossip and news with June. She is also involved with Mayday and becomes one of June's first contacts with the resistance group. Bahia Watson as Brianna/Aferic, another local handmaid who is friends with June. She is Dolores' shopping partner. Janessa Grant as Dolores/off Samuel, a local handmaid with a friendly and talkative nature. She is Brianna's shopping partner. Edie Inksetter as Aunt Elizabeth, a fellow aunt who works closely with Aunt Lydia at the Red Center. Robert Curtis Brown as Commander Andrew Price, a commander who is one of the leading members of the Sons of Jacob and is in charge of the Eyes. Kristen Gutowski as Beth, an award-winning chef before the rise of Gilead, formerly a Martha at Jezebel's, and later a Martha in the Lawrence household. Erin Way as Erin, a young, apparently mute woman who was being trained to become a handmaid but managed to escape to Canada with Luke. Krista Morin as Rachel Tapping, an official at the United States Consulate in Canada. Clea Duvall as Sylvia, Emily's wife. Cherry Jones as Holly Maddox, June's mother, an outspoken feminist. Sydney Sweeney as Eden Blaine, a pious and obedient young girl who is married off to Nick. Greg Brick as Commander Ray Cushing, a fellow commander who later replaces Commander Price's position. Rohan Mead as Isaac, a young guardian assigned to the Waterford home. Julie Dretson as Eleanor Lawrence, the mentally unstable wife of Commander Lawrence. Amy Landecker as Mrs. Mackenzie, Hannah's placement mother in Gilead. Ashley Lathrop as Natalie/off Matthew, a devoted handmaid whose loyalty to Gilead causes divisive tensions amongst her peers. Shujanjia Sri as Sienna, a former radiology student and a new Martha in the Lawrence household. Jonathan Wadden as Commander Matthew Calhoun, the assigned commander of Natalie/off Matthew. Charlie Zeltzer as Oliver, Emily, and Sylvia's son. Christopher Meloni as High Commander George Winslow, a high commander stationed in Washington, D.C. Elizabeth Reeser as Olivia Winslow, the wife of High Commander Winslow. McKenna Grace as Esther Keyes, a farmer, and the teenage wife of an older commander. Za Ashton as Una, an aid worker in Toronto and Moira's new girlfriend. Jean Ann Goosen as Aunt Ruth, a high-ranking aunt who is desperate to replace Aunt Lydia as leading aunt in their district. Natasha Mumba as Danielle, a former handmaid. Victoria Sewell as Tyler, a former handmaid. Amanda Joe as Vicky, a former handmaid. Carrie Cox as Rose Blaine, the daughter of a high commander in Washington, D.C., and Nick's new wife. Rossif Sutherland as Ezra Shaw, Serena's personal Guile Adon bodyguard in Canada. Genevieve Angelson as Alanis Wheeler, an affluent Canadian who idolizes Serena and who is a driving force behind the rise of Gilead in Toronto. Lucas Neff as Ryan Wheeler, Alanis' husband. Guest. Jim Cummings as Burke, an eye who interrogates June. Sabrina Guevara as Mrs. Castillo, an ambassador from Mexico who visits Gilead to see the effectiveness of the regime. Christian Bareilles as Mr. Flores, Mrs. Castillo's assistant. Rosa Gilmore as Zoe, the daughter of a U.S. Army soldier and the leader of the group of survivors whom Luke encounters after being separated from June and Hannah. Tim Ransom as Mr. Whitford, a friend of June's mother who helps June, Luke, and Hannah attempt to cross the border. Marissa Tomei as Mrs. O'Connor, a commander's wife who is exiled to the colonies as punishment for committing a sin of the flesh. Yahya Abdul Mateen II as Omar, a man who helps June attempt to escape Gilead. John Carroll Lynch as Dan, Emily's boss at the university where she worked. Kelly Jenrette as Annie, Luke's ex-wife. Rebecca Rittenhouse as Odette, a doctor, and Moira's deceased fiancé. Lila Robbins as Pamela Joy, Serena's mother. Deirdre Henry as Laurie, a Martha who Nick uses for intel in Gilead. Sarah McVie as Lena, a Swiss diplomat negotiating the hostile conflict between Gilead and Canada over Nicole. Emily Althos as Noelle, a young single mother whose son Aunt Lydia taught before the rise of Gilead. Laura Vandervoort as Daisy, a Jezebel's worker who aids June. Alex Castillo as Don Mathis, the Waterford's defense attorney. Reed Birney as Lieutenant Stans, a Gilead officer who interrogates June. Omar Mascotti as Stephen, the leader of a resistance group in Chicago. Carly Street as Iris Baker / Aunt Irene, a former aunt who attempts to make amends with Emily. Christine Ko as Lily, a former Martha who is now a leader in the Canada-based resistance movement. Jason Butler Harner as Commander Mackenzie, a high commander and Hannah's placement father. In the second season, Oprah Winfrey has an uncredited appearance as a newsreader on a car radio. Episodes. Production. Hulu's straight-to-series order of The Handmaid's Tale was announced in April 2016, with Elizabeth Moss set to star. Based on the 1985 novel of the same name by Margaret Atwood, the series was created by Bruce Miller, who is also an executive producer with Daniel Wilson, Fran Sears, and Warren Littlefield. Atwood serves as consulting producer, giving feedback on some of the areas where the series expands upon or modernizes the book. She also played a small cameo role in the first episode. Moss is also a producer. In June 2016, Reed Morano was announced as director of the series. Samira Wiley, Max Minghella, and Ann Dowd joined the cast in July 2016. Joseph Fiennes, Madeline Brewer, and Yvonne Strahovski were cast in August 2016, followed by O.T. Fagbinal and Amanda Brugel in September 2016. In October 2016, Ever Carradine joined the cast, and Alexis Bledel was added in January 2017. Filming on the series took place in Toronto, Mississauga, Brantford, Hamilton, Burlington, Oakville, and Cambridge, Ontario, from September 2016 to February 2017. Hulu released the first full trailer of the TV series on YouTube, on March 23, 2017. The series premiered on April 26, 2017. On May 3, 2017, The Handmaid's Tale was renewed for a second season which premiered on April 25, 2018. Moss told the news media that the subsequent episodes would cover further developments in the story, filling in some of the unanswered questions and continuing the narrative already finished in the book. The second season consists of 13 episodes and began filming in fall 2017. Alexis Bledel returned as a series regular. Showrunner Bruce Miller stated that he envisioned 10 seasons of the show, stating, "Well, you know, honestly, when I started, I tried to game out in my head what would 10 seasons be like. If you hit a home run, you want energy to go around the bases. You want enough story to keep going, if you can hook the audience to care about these people enough that they're actually crying at the finale." Season 2 was filmed in Ontario, primarily in Toronto, but some scenes were shot in Hamilton and Cambridge. On May 2, 2018, Hulu renewed the series for a third season, which premiered on June 5, 2019. Season 3 started production in Toronto in October 2018. Scenes for Season 3 were also filmed in Cambridge and Hamilton, Ontario as well as in Washington, D.C. Season 3 saw the show's long-serving director of photography, Colin Watkinson, make his directorial debut with the episode Unknown Caller. Cambridge, Ontario was nominated by the Location Managers Guild International for Outstanding Film Office for their work on this season. This was the first time that a Canadian film office was nominated for this honour. On July 26, 2019, the series was renewed for a fourth season. Season 4, consisting of 10 episodes, began production in March 2020, with Elizabeth Moss filming her directorial debut, but work had to be halted after only a few weeks, due to the COVID-19 pandemic. In June 2020, Hulu announced that the fourth season would premiere in 2021. Production on Season 4 resumed in September 2020 and wrapped on February 25, 2021, with Moss having directed 3 episodes. On December 10, 2020, ahead of the fourth season premiere, Hulu renewed the series for a fifth season. Season 5 started production in Toronto in February 2022 and continued through July 2022. In May 2022, Alexis Bledel departed the series ahead of the fifth season, and stated, "After much thought, I felt I had to step away from The Handmaid's Tale." On September 8, 2022, ahead of the fifth season premiere, Hulu renewed the series for a sixth and final season. Broadcast and release. The first 3 episodes of the series premiered on April 26, 2017, the subsequent 7 episodes were released on a weekly basis. In Canada, the series is broadcast weekly by CTV Drama Channel and the streaming service Crave. The first 2 episodes premiered on April 30, 2017. In Scandinavia, the series is available on HBO Nordic. In the United Kingdom, the series premiered on May 28, 2017, on Channel 4. In New Zealand, the series was released on the subscription video on demand service Lightbox on June 8, 2017. After satellite service provider Sky acquired Lightbox and merged it into its streaming service Neon on July 7, 2020, Neon acquired the distribution rights to the series in New Zealand. In Australia, the series premiered on the TV channel SBS's video streaming service SBS On Demand, on July 6, 2017. The series also released on the subscription video on demand service Stan on December 12, 2018. In Ireland, the series premiered on February 5, 2018, on Route 2, with a showing of the first 2 episodes. Root also became the first broadcaster in Europe to debut Season 2, Season 3, and Season 4 following its broadcast in the US and Canada. In Brazil and Latin America, the series premiered on March 7, 2018, on Paramount Channel. In India, the series premiered on February 5, 2018, on AXN and ran for the first 2 seasons before moving to Amazon Prime Video for Season 3, which made all 3 seasons available for viewing on January 31, 2020. The first season was released on Blu-ray and DVD on March 13, 2018, the second season on December 4, 2018, and the third season on November 19, 2019. By 20th Century Fox Home Entertainment. Reception. Critical response. The Handmaid's Tale was ranked as the 25th and 38th best TV series of the 21st century by The Guardian and BBC, respectively. On the review aggregator website Rotten Tomatoes, the overall series has an approval rating of 83%. While on Metacritic, another aggregator website, it has an average score of 81 out of 100. Season 1, Season 2, Season 3, Season 4, Season 5.